What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Early Bird Pod, our second episode in the history of the podcast. I'm Josh Schreiber. Alongside me, Grant McNew, Nico Sharp, both joining me from their individual locations. Obviously, we're all in separate places, but man, what a game that we just had at McKeon Park against the Bourne Braves. It started to look pretty ugly. Down 4-0. The fog creeping in, one out in, what was it, the fifth inning? And then I believe it was the sixth inning, actually. What was the inning that all of a sudden there was just a explosion of runs, our 6-run inning?
I believe
came in the bottom of the sixth.
Yeah, bottom six. But two outs.
Two outs, yeah. So
yes.
there was that double play that it just felt like, and obviously we're getting right into this, no time to waste, but that double play in the middle of the inning, it was a really beautiful play by the second baseman to glove flip it to the shortstop onto first for the double play. It kind of felt like it just sucked all of the momentum out. And then all of a sudden, Cam Smith comes up to bat, sends one over the right center field fence. And then the next batter, Zach York from Grand Canyon, an absolute moonshot. Austin Kelly gets on base, and Elijah Hainline ties it up with a home run of his own, and it was just absolute mayhem in Hyannis. It was incredible to watch. And guys, what were your reactions? Obviously, we were all producing that game. We were all in the booth just watching along like, oh my goodness, like this is just ridiculous. We kept having replays queued up of, oh, we're going to do Cam's homer. We're going to do Zach's homer. Oh, my God, now we have Hainline. So what were your reactions? We'll start with you, Nico.
Yeah, it was truly unbelievable, And I remember after that double play, it was one of our broadcasters that says, oh, that just seems like the way it's working for the Harbor Hawks today, It just felt like that kind of day where things just weren't going in our favor, And then all of a sudden, it was home run after home run, which we haven't seen too much of that kind of power for the Harbor Hawks this year, We've had some home runs here and there, but to string them together like that was truly special, And in the production side, we're like, oh, okay, we'll queue up that replay of that home run, and I'd have it ready, and then another one happened, and then I got to go get that one, It was, really special. It was super exciting. It just showed how true, like, the Harbor Hawks are to – and that's exactly what it was. It just felt like, I don't know, that's just who the Harbor Hawks are.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Nico. Every word you said right there was beautiful, crisp, and clear. So, we talked about it a lot. I think we actually talked about this in our last podcast episode of the Harbor Hawks are a team that have been hitting the ball well and really hard. And I say well kind of like urging back a little bit because they haven't been able to get the ball over much, and they've been getting fielded a lot, but they're hitting the ball solid contact and really hard, one of the harder hitting teams in the league. And we've kind of just been waiting on home runs to happen. We haven't seen a lot of them up until tonight, to where, and Josh, you actually made a little joke at me because I mentioned this as the 3 home runs that just happened. I said, well, we've been waiting on the home runs. Like, we knew this was coming. And you said, well, yeah, we knew 3 home runs were going to come back to back to back pretty much. And I got a chuckle. But, we knew home runs were coming. We didn't know they were coming in that way. And we didn't know when it was going to be. We just, I want to say, got lucky with it, but that feels like the wrong word. But it was lucky that the timing was just so perfect. And who better leading it off than Cam Smith? That just seems right.
Right. No, I completely agree with both of you guys. And we did get some of the TrackMan numbers for exit velocity on 2 of those home runs. Cam Smith, 101 miles per hour, and Zach York at 100. So both were absolutely scorched. Both were missiles. Cam Smith's was impressive in its own right because it was Oppo. That Oppo power that he has is something to behold. It is just ridiculous to watch. And then obviously Zach York, just with the second it went off the bat, you knew it was gone. Cleared the scoreboard, cleared the trees, was just one of the longest home runs we've seen at McKeon Park this year, if not the longest. So very impressive to watch. And this is all, just as a reminder, this is coming at a time where Hyannis was kind of in a little bit of a skid. They had a 3-game losing streak coming into these past 3 games, where now they're on a 3-game winning streak. But it all started because the coaching staff was like, hey, we're not having enough fun as a team collectively. We heard Bria talk to the coaching staff about it back before that Brewster game that was called short due to fog. But the coaching staff really just wanted to remind their players, hey, this is summer ball. We're here to have fun. I understand, there's scouts here. There's a lot of pressure, but at the end of the day, we're here to have fun, and if we can stay loose, we're going to play our best ball. They've done so in these last 3 games, and it has been real fun to watch.
Yeah, and while we were packing up tonight, actually, I was headed to center field to take down that camera with Michael, our play-by-play guy for the night, and I overheard Coach Eric Beatty talking to the group after the game, and he said, and this is all I heard because I was, again, walking through, but he said, I want to give props to you guys talking to the players. If I'm being 100% completely honest, I didn't think you were going to pull this one out. I thought we were losing this ball game, but you guys turned it around. You came out and you won the game. Hats off to you guys. And that alone just spoke to me of, oh, wow, this really is a team that is honest. They're out here like we've seen, especially lately. They're starting to have a lot of fun. Like you said, the orange jerseys have been out and they've been hot. I think the opening remarks today said something about the Harbor Hawks are orange hot, something like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think you're right.
They're out here, as the kids are saying, they're balling and having a blast while they're doing it.
Yeah, and Nico, I do have a question that I wanted to ask you, and kind of related off of what Grant was saying, but as a former collegiate baseball player yourself, how hard is it when there's a game like that? Obviously not a crazy blowout or anything like that, but 4-0, vibes are not very high. How do you stay locked in when, the weather's not great? There are questions. Are we even going to play the rest of this game? Are we going to have to just have this one called? How do you stay locked in that situation and have an explosive inning where you score 6 runs and take the lead?
Yeah, it's always tough. It's always tough when the game is just not going your way and the vibes, like you said, are just not, they just don't feel right. But I know the broadcasters I mentioned, I know we've talked about it before for sure, is hitting is contagious, right? It takes one spark plug to figure out, okay, guys, we're here, right? And so obviously the way it happened, right? The loud home run that we had by Cam Smith, it kind of brought the energy, right? I mean, throughout the first 6 innings of the game, especially through the first 4, it was a little bit of a slower paced game. And Josh, I know we're talking about it back there. It just felt slow. It felt like the game was dragging a little bit, right? It just felt like this wasn't the Harbor Hawks that we're used to seeing. And throughout this year, we haven't been able to streak wins together, right? This is our first 3-game win streak of the season, right? We're always that 500 team. We're always just win, loss, right? So after going up 2 games in a row, we're like, okay, maybe this is our time where we drop one, right? But it just took that one hit, that one home run, got everyone going, and then from there, it took that one spark plug, and then that ignited the fire under the Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Definitely coming at the perfect time as well, with, the roster starting to look like what it may look like as the season continues, as we approach the postseason. Obviously, the MLB draft kind of currently going on right now, with the first 2 days being wrapped up, but still the rest of it happening tomorrow. And, man, it's going to be exciting to see what this Harbor Hawks team can do, because I do want to talk a little bit about the losing streak that they had, because even in those losses, you could see those at-bats starting to come together at the end of games. You look back at the YD game, they had the game-tying run on up to the plate in Cam Smith, and he hit a ball to the warning track. We were all sitting along the sidelines watching that game, and to be honest with you, I didn't know if it was gone, but I thought it was at least going to be a double off the wall or something, because he smoked it, and it just fell a little bit short. And then against Katuitt with I believe it was a 5-run 9th inning, 5-run 8th inning, where they came all the way back after being down 7 runs to make it 8-5. I mean, this is a team, you could tell they have that it factor. They have that, as Michael Kirsting called them, the cardiac Hawks. they come to play in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, and that is the stuff you need if you want to win a championship.
Yeah, absolutely. About that it factor, it's all about finding ways to win, like you mentioned, right? The 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Guys, we're 5-2 in one-run games, right? That's a huge stat. Whenever you talk about those one-run games and those close games in general, it always feels like we're going to come out on top. It just always feels like that comfortability that, like we're never out of a game. It always just feel like that time in and time out. And it just, even when you're not playing your best, right, which you cannot, it's just finding ways to still pull out the win, right? Finding a way to get it done. We're seeing that with good timely ABs, getting runners on. I mean, we're seeing it with these hit by pitches, right? We lead the league in hit by pitches, right? We have guys that are willing to find ways on it at any means necessary.
Yeah, and adding on to that, you talk about how we're 5-2 in one-run games, which is an incredible stat, by the way, Nico. Way to pull that one out. But with that, you feel like, yes, you're going to pull out those close games, but even the games that aren't so close, you feel like, oh, they're going to make this a close game. You know what I'm saying? So really, you always feel like, in a way, that like the Hawks are going to find some way to pull it out. Given we've been that 500 team, like you said, that, like I think I said at least 4 times in the Wareham game, win a couple, lose a couple, but you're right there. If it's not a one-run game, it's usually a 2. We've only seen a couple games that you really just felt beat bad. But other than that, you've been right there as the Hawks.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, so just as a little bit of a recap, I want to talk just briefly, not going to go through every game, but just how their last few games have gone. Started off this win streak against Brewster, won that one in a shortened game at Wareham yesterday, or when this ends up coming out on Sunday, 9-1. That feels like the moment where they kind of started to click and they started to feel like everything go right. A no-hitter through 6 1/3 innings, and putting up 9 runs on Wareham, who, sure, they haven't had the best season from the pitching or fielding side, but it's still a Cape League team. Like, winning 9-1 is no easy feat whatsoever. This is still a team that's won 10 games. So, I mean, this winning streak, I mean, I guess you just got to keep building on it.
Yeah, and talking about that Wareham game, I know we don't want to go through every game, but this feels like an important point of it was a Wareham team that was desperate, right? Playing a desperate team is always scary. They were a 10-win team going into that. We were an 11-win team. And honestly, it felt like a must-win for Wareham as they've been falling apart as of late. And it felt like, okay, as Wareham, if we win this game, our season stays alive. We still feel like we should be up there. And then they lose 9-1, got honestly obliterated by Hyannis. And we can talk more about that in the future. But that may have been like a nail in the coffin moment for the Gatemen that Hyannis delivered. And I think that it being that nail in the coffin was a spark plug for Hyannis.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Okay, yeah, sorry. I feel like that's exactly right. I think that there's nothing more dangerous than playing against a team or somebody whose back's against the wall, right? A team who has nothing to lose. They want it more than anyone, right? They need it, right? So I think, and then we have our best game. It comes from our starting pitcher, Volker, right? And then we talk about the way we score runs, right? It's felt like it was either going to be a 3-run, one big inning, or is going to have just chip away. And we did it both that game. And we had a 3-spot, a 2-spot, back in the 1, and then scored 3 more later. It just felt like everything was clicking. And the bullpen comes in, shuts it down, keeps it scoreless throughout, and then finally gave up the first hit in the 6th or 7th inning. So it just felt like we were clicking on all cylinders against a team, like you mentioned, Grant, whose back's against the wall and who needed a win and wanted to get it done badly.
Yeah. I also do want to add that I don't know if you guys can agree, but my feelings towards this Harbor Hawks team have shifted, I guess, in these past few games, not just because they're winning them, but the way that they're winning them, as you guys have touched on. But even when they've been coming back and winning games, like we can look back to that Katuitt game where we came back 6 runs in the 9th inning. A lot of those runs were scored because of errors, and it just felt to me like, okay, like these wins are awesome. Like you need to have these types of wins, but at the same time, how sustainable is it to be scoring all of your runs coming from errors and just home runs? So, because when you're scoring runs off these errors, you get to the postseason where teams are locked in. Teams have now been playing with each other pretty much with a similar roster for about a month. So it's, you kind of question whether you can continue to win that way in the postseason. But these past 3 or 4 games, they have won by putting together fantastic at-bats. When they're not doing that, they're hitting or being aggressive early in counts, hitting line drives, hitting hard hit balls in general, getting on base by any means necessary, and being aggressive on the base pass. Those are all things that championship caliber teams need to have. And it's something that personally, I don't think we've really seen much throughout this year.
Yeah, just putting it all together, like you mentioned, and not a bad time to do it, guys. Everything we've touched on and our winning streak building, our next 4 of 5 games are home games. So not a bad time to start stringing it together. And now you get a lot of home games playing in your home space. People got to come to you now, right? So you're back at home and you get a chance to build, and you have a tough team and you have a tough schedule coming up with tough opponents. But again, you're doing it at home. You're doing the home comforter at home. A great time to really start clicking and getting it all together.
Yeah, and you talk about how now you have that 4 out of your next 5 are at home, and looking at the way that the standings have fallen, as of tonight, because the Hyannis Bourne game is the only one that was played in the entire Cape League. Props to Hyannis, by the way, of saying we're going to play.
Yeah.
You're sitting Katuitt in first easily, 17-7 in the West. Like, that's whatever. They're Katuitt right now. They're incredible, and they have been for the past however long. But Bourne now 14-11-1, and Hyannis 13-11-1. And if you guys remember, the last game of the next 5 is against Bourne, again at home. So if you do what we think that you're capable of, and what almost we really just expect you to do, is win at least just the home games, and you're set up to, if you're not already past them, overtake Bourne by the end of the week.
Yeah, I mean, definitely a huge stretch coming up for the Harbor Hawks. We are going to have all that coverage for you guys, but now I want to get into the main part of this podcast, and that is time for awards. I'm super excited for this week's awards. We're going to see if we can maybe do a little bit more than one per person, maybe get a couple bonus ones in there, but Grant, I know you were super excited for your first award, so I'm going to hand it off to you. What do you got?
Yeah, so I think this one's good. I'm going to start off with the Ellinger Award, named after Sam Ellinger out of Texas.
Okay, so we got the Ellinger Award. Okay, so let me think this through. Sam Ellinger. Maybe I'm not on the right page here, but kind of a backup for the Colts right now. Did he really get an opportunity? I don't know. Let me guess. I'm just going to throw a random guess out there. I'm going to go Zach York.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where he's going with this, and that's actually for some reason, I don't know if I'm going the right route. I was thinking Zach York as well because, yeah, I'm just trying to think of which direction he's trying to go. But that's actually the first name that came to my head, so I'll go with that one.
Okay, you guys, swing and a miss on that one. So if I said out of Texas because I was trying to imply college football, his college career. You guys may remember the we're back, right?
Yeah.
To the Texas fans, he was wrong, but it's okay. Zach Volker, right? He went into Wareham with, I believe, and don't quote me on this, I believe an 8.52 ERA. I think it was that. And then he goes and throws a no-hitter through 5 with 6 strikeouts. And honestly, I believe we're not going to see pitchers really go past 5 innings in these games in the Cape League, especially regular season. But I think you throw him another 2 innings, and I think it remains a no-hitter. He had Wareham's number. He was back after the two tough starts against
Mhm.
Katuitt and really had Wareham's number and has set himself well for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's a great award, Grant. I mean, Volker was just dominant in that game. I mean, we were on the call for that, and it was incredible to watch him. 5 no-hit innings, just one batter reached base. It was on a walk. He walked the 9-hitter Dorian Gonzalez, and man, he had his stuff. He had his A game from the very beginning, and those stats can lie a little bit because whenever you face a team like Katuitt, obviously they at that point in the season early on they hadn't lost many guys to the draft, so that's still like their A plus
Yeah.
team. Then not only that, but to face them again less than 2 weeks later, they've just seen you. So that's kind of where that blow up start came in, and I think that he really got that redemption here against Wareham.
Yeah, and through my eyes, at least what I saw, you guys may agree with this, but going into the Wareham game for Volker, it really felt like okay, if this is going to work, if I'm going to come into the season and be a real contributor like we all know he's capable of, we saw his pitching and knew it was good because Katuitt, if you have like a 5 to 6 ERA against those Katuitt teams, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. And he was right around that number. But it felt like, okay, you have to perform. You have to come out and play your best game. And he wowed us even expecting his best game.
Yeah, for sure. After the second Katuitt start he had, it just kind of felt like, okay, but it's such a mental thing for pitchers, right? You're on a new summer ball team, right? Guys don't know who you are, right? Like nobody, when you get there and you're just another person, right? Nobody knows who you are. You want to go and show out in front of your guys. So, his first on June 22nd against Katuitt, right? Had an okay, only gave up 1 run, but then you guys talk about that start that didn't go his way, right? Gave up a few runs, got banged around a little bit. It's kind of a hard thing to realize, okay, this is my 3rd start now. I need to put my name in, right? It's a lot of pressure. You're a lot of publicity here, right? There's always scouts. There's a lot of fans, right? You want to make a name for yourself. And boy, did he against Wareham. I mean, that start was unbelievable. I mean, the way he was working early in the counts, he could flip any pitch he wanted to at any moment in the count. It just felt like he was in total control. And even that walk he had to break up the perfect game, that missed by maybe this much, right? Just off the plate. Could have gotten the strike 3 call there. Just missed it. But with all that pressure of, coming into a new team and having those kind of starts, I mean, a great bounce back start. That was so fun to watch.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, Volker's the type of guy where he could really be your ace coming down the stretch, especially with teams like Katuitt kind of losing potentially some of that outstanding lineup. And now with the Harbor Hawks, how their lineup's looking, they're going to be very tough to beat. Volker certainly will be a big part of that now. So Grant, great award right there. That was the Ellinger Award. Nico, we got to be a little bit better than that, I guess. Both of us with 0 points. Nico, you want to go next? You want me to go?
I can take this one. I can take it.
Go for
All right,
it.
so my award goes to the Calendar Man.
Calendar Man.
Calendar Man.
Huh. All right, I don't know if I'm on the right page here, but I'm thinking of a dude who, in June was starting to heat up a little bit, or not really starting to heat up, but he was cold. I'll put it that way. He was cold, and once the month switched over to July, something started to click for him, and recently he's been playing pretty well. I'm gonna go Trey Lipsy. What do you got, Grant?
You throw out Trey Lipsy and Quadzilla comes to my mind. And I really have to fight the urge to agree with you just because of that. But calendar makes me think, okay, maybe he's new and he's only had a couple of days. So I think that I'm going to go with Zach York because he stepped in and played good defense, really good defense. And we saw him tonight really step up with the bat. So I think I'm going to go Zach York on that one.
Gotcha. You guys both got mine last time. I did stump you both on this one. I did get you both. I was actually going a different route. I was thinking of a guy who just seems to be doing it this entire season, right? And we actually made a pact not to pick him last time in the man Cam Smith as a guy who just keeps getting it done, right? I mean, it just felt like. I'm sorry, Josh. I'm sorry.
Wait a second. We made a pact.
No, just from last episode. That was just last episode.
Okay. I still don't respect that. It's too easy. Cam Smith, MVP. Okay.
It just because baseball is so hard, right? So whenever like last week he was going crazy, right? We made a pact because he was doing so well, or he was getting everybody's attention, right? Okay, we just gotta try not to, right? But he's doing it again and again and again, game after game. He's leading in almost all of our offensive stats, right? In the big three, in average home run and RBIs, right? He's leading in those stats. Other than Zach York, who just joined us, he has the best batting average, right? Hitting 326, 4 bombs on the year, and 12 RBIs. This guy just, it doesn't seem like anybody can stop this guy.
Yeah. I'll just say what my award was going to be. I was honestly pretty excited about it, so thanks for that, Nico. But my award was going to be the Shonwell Award, the Nolan Shonwell Award, because I think if Cam Smith can keep this up, come next season, he is going to be a first-round MLB draft pick. He is that good. He has all of the tools. He can run. He can flash the leather. He can hit for average. He can hit for power. This dude is legit. And I think that, he could have a season at Florida State this coming year where he puts the entire world on notice, the entire baseball world on notice, where they're like, hey, this is one of the best college players in the country. And this dude is going to do what Nolan Shonwell just did yesterday, who got drafted 11th overall to the Angels. Cam Smith, I really think he's going to do something similar in next year's draft.
Josh, I think it's your turn for the award
this time.
You did. All right, so yeah, my fault. I'm gonna go. Okay, so it's another award I had queued up. This award, I'll give you guys a hint. It may be going to multiple people, and it is going to be the Backstreet Boys Award.
Backstreet Boys makes me think outfield. Although that could also be the catching staff because they've played really well as of late. If I'm guessing a position group, I'm gonna go with the outfield here. Can I pick the entire outfield? Is that allowed?
You can do whatever you want, Grant. This is our show.
Yeah, apparently we can pick Cam Smith too, so I think I'm going to go with the outfield.
What you got for me, Nico?
Yeah, that's exactly the route I was going to go. I was going to go outfield. So if we're not going to pick players, I'm going to say the outfield just because of how well they cover ground. The arms are electric. They're throwing guys out almost every night. It never feels like we're out of the plate. They're so exciting. I just love watching our guys, especially, and specifically Zach Earhart. He has a cannon for an arm. Love to watch him throw out people. So that's going to be my pick.
Great guess. Not even close. Not even close. My Backstreet Boys Award, a little bit tricky, guys. It's going to the coaching staff, okay? The coaching staff may have had the clutchest performance of the season this past week. When they showed up before that Brewster game to McKeon Park in cutoff shorts, in bare feet, wearing I guess they weren't wearing the orange uniforms yet, but wearing their warm-up shirts, it kind of reminded me, hey, this could be quite an interesting boy band, something like the Backstreet Boys. And, man, did they flip a switch or something? I wouldn't be surprised if all of a sudden Hyannis goes on an absolute heater here, because the energy that they brought to that game in Brewster has certainly carried over. They put on those orange uniforms. They said they had a surprise. That was the surprise. And these boys are balling right now, and a lot of that is because of our very own boy band that we have, and that is the coaching staff of the Harbor Hawks.
Yeah, I didn't know we could even go coaching staff, and I saw the
Let's say
look on
this is
Grant's
our
face.
show. We can do whatever we want.
Yeah, so we truly can do whatever we want. I like it, but no, I really do love the pick. Right? I mean, I love that they changed it up. You know, when we went on that little skid, you know, they reminded baseball's fun, right? You know, like take a little bit of stress off the players. Hey guys, baseball's fun, right? We got our old pants and we cut them, right? I mean, they're pinstripe shorts. They looked sweet, right? I really like the look. It was electric.
You talking about them in the production studio. You thought that you could rock it like right now.
I could. I would love to. It just looked like it was sweet. I loved it. I just love that they reminded that baseball's fun, right? When you're down 3 games, it feels, you know, it can beat you down a little bit, but reminding them that baseball's fun and that we're all here together, and it's like, I loved it. I loved it. That's a good pick.
Yeah, the Backstreet Boys. That is actually incredible. I hate that you did it because there was no chance we were getting it, but I love that you did it because that is awesome. And I get it. Like, it's perfect. It fits so well. I can see a graphic coming up for our next home game, like the Backstreet Boys. You just locked in a nickname. A new nickname.
Hey,
Wow.
I gotta set the tone for this podcast in the future to show where we could go with our creativity on these awards. You know, we got a Cam Smith thrown in there. I had my award stolen, was a little bit salty, so I had to throw that in there.
Am I allowed to do like a clock or a watch for my next award and have it be Austin Dakuda because he showed up early to a game? Like, is that allowed?
Man, you've been throwing strings at people today, Grant. I mean, starting with Jacob Irons, I'm not even going to repeat that, the roller coaster joke you made on air. But
Yeah.
hey, it's warranted, I guess. But hopefully, I guess we'll find out if Austin actually listens to our podcast now. So,
Oh man. Oh man. Well, I guess I have the next award, right? Is that how this works? Okay.
yeah, let's just keep it going. Keep it going.
So this one I like this one. I don't think it's nearly as creative as yours was, Josh, but I'm gonna go with the Backyard Award.
Oh, okay. The Backyard Award. Okay. Oh, well, I apologize right there. If you guys saw that, I just almost knocked my computer over, but we're good. We're good. My guess, here we go. We're going Zach York again. I just got to go Zach York again because that ball he hit today probably went into somebody's backyard with how far that thing went. I mean, that was ridiculous.
I think it went into several people's backyard.
Yeah, probably off of the bridge, maybe in Wareham, way far away from the Cape.
Does it face the right direction for that?
No idea. Doesn't matter.
Does not.
Okay. So, funny enough, I was actually going to go thinking Zach York because it just seems like the way he's hitting, it just seems like he's playing in his backyard.
How many times
It
have we
just
guessed?
seems- I know, but like that's just where my mind went first. You know, he just joined us. He's hitting 400. I mean, he just came here and it just seems like he's playing in his backyard. He makes it look easy, and I just love the way he swings the bat.
You know, those points make a lot of sense. But they're wrong. They're so wrong.
Coming, Grant. I knew it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with Will Taylor here. And Nico, I actually mentioned this. Yeah, Whale Taylor. I mentioned this to Nico. I don't think I said this to Josh during the game, but I said to Nico, Will Taylor is a guy that is average, like numbers wise, his average isn't way up there. I think he peaked 200 today, but I may be wrong on that. But situational hitting, he's the guy I want at the plate because he just seems like, I don't know why, but he just seems like a lock to get on base. And you know those moments in the backyard where you're all alone, you have a bat and a ball, and you have to toss it to yourself. You're saying, all right, bottom of the ninth, bases loaded, we're down by whatever. It's just that moment. I want him there. It feels like he is in the backyard by himself, no noise when the lights are the brightest, that he is just focused up, ready to do what the Harbor Hawks need him to do, just like he's in the backyard.
Hey,
Wow.
I'm impressed. That's a good award. I'll give you that.
Thank
I
you.
mean, I've been really happy to see what Taylor has done from that 9-hole, and I want to continue to see him make progress, get that average up there, get that on base up there, or continue to, I guess, because his in the past his past 4 games, he's hitting 308 with a 400 on base percentage. Been hit by 6 pitches this year, so he's getting dirty. He's stealing bases. He's getting big hits, and I mean, it's great to see him start to really get going because he can field, he can run, he can hit, he can do it all.
Yeah, that's a guy who can do it all. And like you guys said, he's hitting 204 right now, so he did peak that 200. But I love his swings. Very confident swings, takes good hacks. I love the way he tracks the ball in. I mean, he sees the ball really well. And that's a guy who I think can just flip a switch at any point. I can't wait for him to take off. You can just tell. I mean, it's the same way, Grant, you mentioned that the power was coming and it's only a matter of time before the home run started coming. It's only a matter of time before Will Taylor, all the balls find some grass and he finds ways on, because you can just tell he's really coming up, seeing the ball well. I think that average is about to bust up.
Absolutely. So I believe you're next, Nico, if you have one ready. If not, I can go. Up to you.
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
He's going to
Okay.
steal yours again, Josh. I can feel it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
We'll
we'll
see.
see.
We'll see.
We'll see. This award is the Electric Award.
Electric. All right.
Ooh.
Ooh, okay.
I've got my pick.
Go for it.
And this is, so I narrowed it down in my mind to Hainline and John Gazdar. But I'm going to go with John because even before he stepped foot on Cape, there was so much buzz around him, and just the fact that he was coming, and because people call him John, and that's freaking awesome. So I think I'm going to go with John. He's also played really well, and he's been awesome, especially on the defensive end for Hyannis.
Okay. I'm thinking a little bit of a different route here. I'm between 2 guys right now. I'm between Ethan Lanthier, because obviously, and a new guy. I'm just gonna throw it out there because I'm excited to talk about this guy, and I know we're going to eventually, but JB Middleton, just because his stuff is electric. We got to see it for the first time while we were on the call in Wareham. His fastball sitting around 94, 95, can top out at 97. Southern Miss guy. I'm really excited for him. He's electric. JB Middleton.
Guys, I love the picks, but again, you guys are unfortunately 0 for 2. Great picks, and they both made a lot of sense. But the guy I'm actually giving this award to is Nick Mitchell. Right? So he's our leadoff guy, and you can just tell.
Yep.
If that ball is in the gap, it's a triple. That guy can absolutely fly. He brings energy, and that's the guy you want in the leadoff spot. He can just fly around the bases. He brings that energy. When he gets on base, he's gonna steal. It just, I don't know. Something about him is just so electric to me. I just love. We got a perfect view at where I believe it was Wareham when he hit that triple, and how fast he can get around those bases. I mean, he flies around the bases. I love watching this guy play day in and day out. He is truly electric to me.
Yeah, I'm with you, Nico. I mean, in his last 7 days, which is 6 games for him, because he's been slotted in at that leadoff spot pretty much every single game, he's hitting 346. He has a 538 slugging percentage, 414 on base. He has 2 triples and a double. And, I mean, this dude can run. He's another one of those do-it-all guys. He's made a couple nice plays in the outfield where they've been much more difficult plays than he's let on for them to be, just because of how fast he is and how much ground he can cover. And that's something that not only do I love about him, I love about our outfield, because pretty much at all times, it's 3 guys that are center fielders and can go and get it at any position. Like, you think of our top 4 outfielders, it's going to be Will Taylor, Nick Mitchell, Trey Lipsy, and Zach Earhart. All 4 of them, I believe, have played center field this season. And all four of them have looked really good in the outfield in general. I don't know if, Grant, if you don't have anything to add, I can get on into my award. So I guess this will be our final award of the episode. So I guess I got to make it good. I'm going to go with the Peloton Award. Peloton.
Is that like that exercise bike?
It is.
Oh, look at me go.
There you go.
This is a tough one. Now, those Pelotons, people use them to stay warm. And Nico likes to say stay hot. Other things that are hot, let's say like a burger fresh off the grill. So somebody that's cooking, right? That's where my mind is going. Somebody that is cooking.
Wow.
Would I be accurate to say that?
I don't know. What's your guess? I'm not giving you anything.
I'm going to go Zach York.
Okay.
One, because I don't, did I guess him earlier?
I would assume so. I feel like we've guessed him every time.
Yeah, so the off chance that I didn't, I don't want to be left out in that. So I'm saying this to the viewer. I'm picking Zach York because I'm afraid of being left out. So I'm picking Zach York, and two, because dude is cooking right now. Okay.
All right. I'll just say right now that's wrong. Grant, to know what's going on inside your mind. I'm gonna let Nico go. I don't know how you got from Peloton to burger on a grill to cooking. Like, I mean, it's impressive. The mind of Grant McNew is impressive, but
I walked you through it.
You did walk me through it. It was just very.
Yeah.
Okay.
Word association.
Anyways, Nico.
Okay, I'm gonna go Zach Earhart here. You know, that's a guy who we think. Well, I thought about the bike, and I thought about speed. And about a guy who has 3 stolen bags on the year, and a guy who's also cooking at the plate a little bit. You can tell he's gaining that confidence, and he's starting to swing it a little better. You can see it in his swings. You can see it in his at bats. I don't know. It's just a guy who seems like he's cooking for me.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You said Zach, and I thought you were gonna say Zach York, and I was gonna lose.
No, it would have been funny. You guys, Nico, a little bit closer, I guess, with the thought process than me, Grant, who somehow got to cooking burgers. Pelotons are used typically, I'd say, for some sort of spin class. And the guy I'm thinking of is a pitcher, and he could take some of his fellow pitchers in the league to spin class, and that's Darren Horn. This dude is putting up numbers like I've never seen before. He is throwing night in and night out. His slider is in the mid 3,000s when it comes to spin rate. I mean, he has the highest spin rate by far on the Cape in general. What he's doing, I don't think can be like really compared to anything, just because, I mean, we talked about it. I mean, we saw it a lot on Twitter with the analytics group posting it, and it's kind of just, we've gotten numb to it because it's just every single time he steps on the mound, he puts up ridiculous numbers that are well beyond anyone else. But to have that type of spin rate, he's going to be a high draft pick no matter what he does, solely because of that, because teams are going to want to tap into that ability that he has. And watching from my perspective on the switcher with the camera angles, being able to see that center field camera for him pitching today, watching him, it's gross. His slider, it breaks so hard that if he can really master that, and if he can really gain command, maybe throw a changeup a little bit more, throw a sinker, this is going to be a major league talent that, I mean, you can't just pick up off the street someone who throws with RPMs in the 3,300s. Like, it is ridiculous what he's doing, and for that reason, that's why I'm giving him the Peloton Award.
Yeah, that makes total sense. That's a great idea, Josh. You know, you see it, and you talk about his slider, right? And and those RPMs that get up, and his slider, it's tight and it breaks late. I mean, it's gross, just like you mentioned, and that's why it's no secret that the high in hits that he's given up so far this year, he's only getting up 2 hits in one game. Only get up 4 hits and 4 appearances. So I mean, he's just a guy who's fun to watch, electric stuff. His RPMs are up, but just the eye test when you watch him pitch, it's nasty. He's fun. He's just a guy that I don't know how hitters hit him, with that high spin rate and all his pitches coming and tunneling down that same path and breaking off. I mean, it's tough guy to hit. Tough guy to hit.
Yeah, a couple notes. I know that one day we will have a podcast episode where I don't have to hear both of you go, gross. I don't know. Something about that just weirds me out. I get it. It makes sense. Just, I don't know. It's like some people with the word moist, I guess. And another note, Josh, you said Nico was more along the right lines than I was. Was that just because you understood his thought process at all?
I guess it's the only thing that made me say that was that he even mentioned a bike. And I was going along the lines of spin class. Like you went from you use Peloton to stay warm and grill. When I think about staying warm or staying hot, or no, when I think about staying warm, I think about Nico saying stay hot, and then I think about burgers cooking on a grill, and then I think about cooking in general. Like the tangent you went on to get to where you ended up. I mean, I admire it, but not quite that deep for me.
I just wanted to make sure that's what it was because he did not mention a pitcher.
That's true. No, neither of you guys were on the right page. Yeah. I will say that.
That being said, props to you for that award because that's actually another really good one for you. Not quite as good as the Backstreet Boys, I don't think, but and that's something that we hadn't mentioned before either was that spin rate, and I think that's something that should go mentioned. That should never be an unmentioned thing. Is mid 3,000 spin rate. That's not something you see every day. So that's super awesome. Good for Darren Horn. Am I right, guys? Am I right? Good for that guy. He has got something cooking.
He has been cooking. And, I mean, that kind of concludes our awards, but you do have to feel bad for some of these guys because when your team starts to click like this, there are going to be guys that deserve awards, and we just don't have the time to give them to them. So I want to shout out those guys in general because when the Harbor Hawks start to get going, there's going to be more and more guys deserving of awards, and hopefully we can get that to them. But that is going to conclude this second episode of the Early Bird Pod. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, whatever it is. Be sure to stay tuned because we got more content coming. We got interviews with players coming up. We were hoping we'd have them earlier, but we've been delayed by some rain and some unfortunate conditions. So very soon there's going to be an interview coming out. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much. I'm Josh Schreiber, Grant McNew, Nico Sharp. As always, they're with me. We'll see you later.